scary moments kind of come about, and it's just I think it's a good movie. I really like it. Our next one is Ben Hur. This one was done in 1959. My great uncle actually worked on this movie, a big part of this movie. Um, if no one knows what it is, basically, Ben Hur is the story of a Roman and a Jew. They were best friends as boys, but he's grown up to the Roman life and he's still a Jew. And so they butt heads and break off their friendship. And through some accidental circumstances, he takes the blame for the almost death of, I want to say, like a new, it wasn't a Caesar, it was a new person in charge that was going into town. And some things occur and they think he's done it and he takes the blame for someone else. I don't want to give it away. He becomes a galley slave on the ship. So the ship goes down in a battle. He escapes, saves the guy who was the leader of the ship, and that guy realizes he's a good guy, so he kind of adopts him as his son that he had lost. And he was racing this guy's chariots. So over time, he became this famous chariot racer. He starts making his way back home, and he meets this sheik that needs to win at the biggest chariot races, and he realizes his friend Basala is going to be in it. So he decides to race him, and it goes into this a lot of kind of tortuous situations. But it's a good movie. Definitely seen this since I was a child. I was probably a year old watching this because my parents probably already had it in hand. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, definitely from my childhood. Enter a world of pure imagination, definitely. This is a Gene Wilder movie. This was in 1971 when this came out. But if you don't know, Gene Wilder is getting older and he's trying to find someone who can take over his factory. And so he puts out these golden tickets all over the world, and miraculously, the 5 people vying for it are all American. When does that happen? Anyway, but it's a good movie. Definitely from my childhood. And my parents have owned this as long as I can remember. The Ten Commandments. This is another movie that my great uncle was, let's say, heavily invested in, was a big part of this. He said it took them 10 years to figure out how to digitally make the ocean split into like it does in the movie. 10 years. But he was a big part of that. I'm not going to release any names because up to now, as you've noticed, all you see is my hands. I've tried to kind of preserve my anonymity. So we're going to keep it that way. But this was just part of my upbringing, and it'll always stay in my family. This was a 1956 movie. Okay, yesterday actually did the SpongeBob SquarePants movies, or the seasons, episodes, and stuff, and this one somehow got slipped out, and I did not even realize it wasn't in the stack. But this is the Tales from the Deep, another one from the caves. like I said, another one I want Morgan Freeman too, but so Morgan Freeman can live on one side, he can live on the other, and then maybe across the street I want Floyd from Andy Griffith to live there too because he's just hilarious. Okay, breathing lessons. This movie is ridiculous. It is so ridiculous. And I think that's why I love it. I saw this. It probably didn't come out until I was probably 19 or 20. But my mom was sitting down watching it one day and I was passing through. And I think for some odd reason, I happened to sit down for like the last half and I was like, this movie is ridiculous. Well, I came back and watched it, and or she was watching it again, and I came and saw a little bit more because she loved it. And then I started to realize why. But it's James Garner and Joanne Woodward. But all of it takes place in the course of one day, and it is just unlike movies where they script it so exactly where only this happens, only this happens, only this happens. A bunch of crazy events occur. Just crazy events. That sounds like a bad day in real life. It's just funny. Okay, Dennis the Menace. This is not a part of my childhood, but it's a part of my daughter's childhood. And people actually used to call her Mason Campbell because when she was young, she was like 3, 2, 3, 4. She had really blonde hair, bright blue eyes, and until her hair got heavy enough to hold it down, she had a little cowlick in the same place. So it was, yeah, and she ran around, had her like a little overalls, and so people would call her Mason Campbell. She wasn't mischievous like he was, but she looked like him. But let's see when this movie was made. I love Walter Matthau. I do. He's so funny in here. It says it was in 2003. She was born in 2000, so this would have come out when she was 3. So when this was released, she was 3. He was like 4 or 5, so I guess maybe 5. So yeah, they looked very similar. Okay, definitely from my childhood. Damien the Bachelor with Debbie Reynolds. And then this one either. I can't stand when they do that. It's got Disney in a zip code or something, but like, why can't you like Disney in the year? That makes no sense. But I watched that a lot as a kid. I watched this one a lot as a kid, which I grew up with, like The Parent Trap with Haley Mills, and then we watched like That Dark Cat, which isn't my favorite movie. But then it started The Castaways, where she's a teenager and her brother, her dad and his buddies have been cast away. Really, they've been kidnapped, so they go on an adventure to find them, and then they're joined by these people. And Maurice Chevalier's in there, so there is some singing, and it's adorable. This was in, let's see if they gave me a date on this one. It says 2005. I know better. I guess probably the DVD and everything was released in 2005. It does not say when the movie was shot. Probably the 50s. Had to be the 50s. Okay. Part of my childhood. Peter Lawford, Donald Crisp, son of Lassie. When I was a kid, my brothers liked, or maybe my baby brother, he liked watching the Lassie things. I thought they were boring. I'm trying to think of an episode that maybe I liked, or one of the movies. I don't know, I felt like it was more like, okay, a boy and his dog, and they're doing this and they're doing that. I don't know, it just wasn't my thing. But this one, Peter Lawford's going off to war, and Laddie accidentally follows him. Not accidentally, he purposely goes, but he doesn't know that he's there. They're in love, you know, there's just a lot going on there, but it's in World War II. And so Laddie ends up on the plane with Joe, and the plane is shot out of the sky in Norway. So they parachute out, and then they're trying to make their way safely back, and they get separated, and different people are trying to take care of him. Different people are trying to take care of him. So, yeah. But where Priscilla, when they were kids, used to be Elizabeth Taylor. What is her name now? Her name is June Lockhart. And they just make an adorable couple in there. They really do. Okay, two more. This was part of my kids' childhood. Maybe not even childhood, or like pre-teens maybe. They would go to their grandmother's and watch this, and they loved these. So probably at some point they were like, hey, can we go ahead and buy this set? And we did. And now that they're grown, you never know this guy Guido, and he starts off and he's this waiter with this crazy personality, and he likes riddles and stuff.